Hello, good people. Thanks for joining me again. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Anne, and on my channel, I review foreign shows. You know what I usually say, right? We travel around the world sitting on our couches. How fun is that? You never know which country we're gonna end up. Hi guys, thanks for joining me again. If you're new to my channel, my name is Anne, and on my channel, I review foreign international content. Today I'm back. I wanted to quickly jump on here and say you need to add this on your list. It's called You Do Not Know Me, and wow, it just dropped this weekend and I binged watched. It's only 4 episodes and it's really fantastic. I mean, at the end of it all, we were all stuck like, are you guilty? Not guilty. Who did it? Who killed Jamil? I mean, you're just like, what? What is going on? But I love how they wrote the script, because when it first opens and that prosecutor is like, well, he had the gunpowder on him, he had the blood in his fingertips. I was just like, dude, you're black, okay? Let's be honest. And the gun was on you and you had the blood on your fingers. I'm like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And they really play on this stereotype. Black man found with the gun, and clearly, and then the prosecutor just laying all that evidence there. It was like, if you are one of those people who right away, stereotypes something, you are like, he's guilty. He is definitely guilty, right? And then he begins to tell the story, his story, and I was like, oh my goodness. Anyway, the story is about Hiro, that's his name, and he meets this girl, her name is Kyra. They fell in love, and then unfortunately, Kyra is involved in, let's just say, something that it's illegal and it's risque. There's gangs involved, and let's just say he is trying to save her and goes to try and get her. And in the process, he has to get a gun because you can't call the police on the situation. Kyra would get in trouble. So he has to get a gun from Jamil, who is like your drug dealer of the area, who knows Hiro. And once he gets the gun, unfortunately, that's the same gun that's used to kill Jamil. So the reason why he is here is because Jamil has been killed and we're trying to find out who did it. According to the prosecutor, Hiro did it. But then Hiro decides to tell his story about how it all went down, and you will be shocked. You will be surprised. And let me just say, when it comes to the end, we're stuck in guilty or not guilty. And then there's 2 scenarios and you're stuck wondering, which one was it? I don't want to give too much just in case you haven't watched. I don't do spoilers, but it is so good. And the cast, by the way, Hiro and Kyra'S chemistry was so good. I love that they threw in culture. By the way, I had to put subtitles to listen to an English show because the British accent is so thick. And then they throw in a little bit of, I think it's like a Caribbean vibe or Jamaican vibe when he's like, are we gonna do this thing? I'm like, this thing sounds like something they say in Jamaica. And then they threw in some Nigerian, he's Yoruba, and they had music on there. I loved it. I just think it's one of those shows that we need to add on our list to watch. I feel like the whole cast did a fantastic job. I loved Bless with Kurt. Their story was so sweet about how Kurt came and was almost like family and really considered him a brother because he was from a family that was, I guess was having a hard time. And Jamil, the character of Jamil was so interesting. I mean, he's a bad guy and he's a drug dealer. On the other hand, there's something endearing about him, right? Like he's like, hey dude, I need you to help me write my papers because I may be a drug dealer, but I'm trying to graduate from school, right? It was interesting. And by the way, Jamil's look gives me like he could be Somali, right? Is it just me? And then he's giving me like P. Diddy vibes and always dresses in white. like loved the character. All the characters were really, really good. I really enjoyed it very much. And I love that when it ends, it's almost like we don't get a resolution. It was almost like, which story do you believe? The point is, do you believe him? Do you believe that he's innocent, or do you believe that he's guilty? And then I'm like, are they trying to tee us up for second season? Because I'm here for it. Please give us a second season. I would love to see more, because I was like, which scenario do I believe happened, right? Because at the end, they're guilty, not guilty. And then there's these two stories about who could have done it. And I'm like, okay, I believe there's one story that I believed more than the other story. But once again, I don't do spoilers, so I'm not gonna say which one I believed more. But fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And the whole storytelling, and the fact that, you know, when the prosecutor is giving the story, you're like, oh yeah, you're guilty, dude. And then when he tells his story, his family, he's a car salesman. He's a good boy. He's a good person, a good man. But the way you see the evidence, you're like, guilty, oh, guilty, guilty. And then when he starts to tell the story, you're like, wait a minute now, wait a minute. Maybe we were too fast to judge, right? And I love that they're trying to break that stereotype, especially when it comes to black men and crime. There's many times where we've seen black men who were innocent, but because the stereotype is so strong, a black man, you had the gun, you have all this on you, it's like, guilty, right? I mean, that jury at the beginning, you could tell they were just like, yeah, you did it. And then once they start talking, they were like, oh my God, you were just a nice guy who is very in love, you know, and is willing to do whatever it takes for his love. It was just interesting. I love that one line where Kyra'S character was like, you've been so loved in your life, it has soaked into you. You have no other thing to do but just to love. Meaning, you got in this trouble because of me, because you love. You could have walked away and be like, okay, this situation is not for me, but you are so loved that you just stuck here and came for me again and again, and you are in this situation because of me. Oh, loved it. And obviously Kyra and her brother were not so fortunate. They didn't grow up, you know, in very loving relationships, but fantastic series. I really enjoyed it. It was only 4 episodes, so it's so binge worthy. I recommend you add You Do Not Know Me on your list. It's pretty fantastic. And I am here for season 2. Give us season 2. It was really, really well done. I absolutely love it. Anyway, as usual, if you love my video, give me a like, subscribe. It does help to support my channel. And I'll see you again when I'm reviewing another excellent foreign international show. Deuces.